So in last lecture, we talk about what is inversion, and then we discuss three different mechanisms having lower PS like 4-bar chain, single slider, and double slider. In the last lecture, based on Grashoff's law, we discuss what are the different inversions of a 4-bar mechanism based on Grashoff's law, like a crank rocker, then crank, or you can say double crank, and then double rocker. And when that inversion is obtained, that means when each link is fixed, let's say link number 1, 2, 3, 4, then corresponding to which link is fixed, we obtain different mechanisms or different inversions, we can say. That we discuss. We've seen some applications of that 4-bar chain mechanisms, or you can say inversions of 4-bar chain mechanism applications, like beam engine is the application of a crank and lever mechanism, or you can say crank and rocker mechanism, while coupling rod of locomotives or parallel crank mechanism is application of double crank mechanism. And finally, Watt's indicator is also application of a double lever mechanism. That's what we talk about inversions of 4-bar chain mechanism, beam engine, parallel crank, and then Watt's engine. After that, we just started our discussion, not finally completed, but just we started discussion on inversions of a single slider crank chain. So I told you in this mechanism also there are 4 links and 4 pairs. But as we discussed, even though there are 4 pairs, out of these 4 pairs, 3 are turning pairs and 1 is sliding pair. Of course, all pairs are lower pairs. Now we have to discuss inversions of this single slider crank chain. Now, what are the different inversions possible if we fix different links in turn? Let's say we fix frame or link 1. It is known to you when link or frame is fixed. What obtain is what we let's say this is link number 1, which is fixed. So what happen in this case? Link number 2 will rotate about this fixed link, which acts as a crank, and this connecting rod will transmit motion to a piston through this cross-head arrangement. So basically, we obtain a IC engine mechanism. So application or example of a first inversion of slider crank chain is IC engine mechanism, in which input is from piston side and output is crank actually. If we talk about compressors, then output is crank, input is crank, and output is piston side. So both, that is compressors and IC engine mechanisms, are applications of a first inversion of slider crank chain in which frame or cylinder is fixed. Is it clear to all? The inversion of, that is first inversion of single slider crank chain. And which link is fixed here? Link number 1 is fixed, or you can say frame is fixed. Application I told you, one is IC engine, other one is compressors. Both are same basically, but difference is where is input. In case of IC engine, you know that piston force is input. Gas forces are there. Fuel is burnt on this side, and then it will apply some force to move this piston. When this piston is reciprocating, that reciprocating motion of piston is transferred to this crank through connecting rod, which makes this crank rotate about this fixed link. And reverse happen in case of a compressors. When crank rotates, piston will reciprocate. So this is first inversion of a single slider crank chain. Is it clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what happen if you fix different links? Instead of frame, if you fix link number 2, if you fix link number 3, or if you fix piston 4, then what are the different inversions possible and what are its application? That we'll see in next part. So I told you, when I talk about inversions of single slider crank chain, the first application is nothing but a IC engine, or you can say first inversion is a IC engine, or also you can say compressors. Now we'll talk about inversion number 2, that is second inversion, and its applications are, 2 applications are here we have to discuss. The one is Whitworth quick return motion mechanism, and second one is rotary internal combustion engine, sometimes called as a NOM engine. So both are applications of second inversion. I will see how this second, third, and fourth inversion will be achieved one by one. Third inversion applications are crank and slotted lever mechanism and oscillating cylinder engine. Fourth one is pendulum pump or a bull engine. So in order to discuss about inversion number 2, let's say consider this simple diagram. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Arrow is visible?
Yes.
Okay. Now see, slider crank chain given you example of first inversion, and first inversion means when this link number 1, which is frame, is fixed. So here what happened in that case? When this frame is fixed, link number 2 will rotate, and this 3 will transmit that rotary motion to sliding motion of a piston. So this piston, that is link number 4, will reciprocate over this frame or inside the frame. That is first inversion already we seen. Now we have to talk about second inversion. You can see now, instead of fixing link number 1, remember, try to understand this diagram carefully. These are simple diagrams drawn. That's why I take a screenshot of my notes to get better idea instead of slides and 3D diagrams. Okay. So try to concentrate here. It is important to understand. Once you understand this, then I will show you animations and all. But first, try to clear the concept. And I will ask you questions now after discussion. So in inversion 2, instead of this link number 1, link number 2 is fixed. So this link we are going to fix. So just we fix this link number 2 and we rotate this in such a way that, now see, just arrangement mechanism is same, just we rotate it to get the better idea about this, how this mechanism is. So this link number 2 is fixed now. Link number 1 is this, link number 3 is this, and link number 4 is piston. Now here, I hope you understand difference between first and second inversion. In first inversion, frame or cylinder is fixed, but here the shortest link is fixed. So inversion 2 is obtained when link number 2, which is shortest link in slider crank chain or slider crank mechanism, is fixed. And when that link is fixed, this link number 2 is fixed, which is shortest link is fixed. What kind of inversions we obtain, that we'll see now. So first application of inversion 2, when this link number 2 is fixed, is Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. Now, why quick return? I think I discussed in brief in the last lecture, but we'll discuss now in detail. Let's say consider this mechanism. I draw here again. So this is link OA, that is our link number 2, which is fixed. This is link AB, that is our link number 3 here, and this OB represents link 1. Now, in order to use this mechanism, so this structure I'm saying, this is our basic structure. Up to here. This is basic slider crank chain mechanism in which this link is fixed. You can see this one is fixed link. OA is fixed link. In order to use this mechanism, what we do, we increase this link, we extend this link OB up to point C. So what happened, you can see here, just it is extended. And in order to use this, again, that means OB is extended. So now BC will act as a single link. OB is one link, but we extend it up to C point. Now BC act as a single link. So how many links are there? Fixed link 1, second link, you can say fixed link, this one is second link, third link, piston is fourth link. This is your mechanism. This is just extended. OC is not separate link, but OB is extended up to C. So BC is a single link. And again, to transmit motion of BC for to achieve some work, to do some work, what we do, we add one more link. This is additional link actually. So this is additional link. And to that additional link, we attach tool. Now what happened, tell me. I hope it is visible to you. And this is intermediate position shown here, which is drawn with a pen. So OA, AB, the slider, BC, and then this link, additional link, you can say CF. So at this position, when this crank, which link act as a crank here? AB will act as a crank, and this AB will rotate about point A. So there actually it looks like leaves. But if I stretch this diagram, then you can see the path of B. This AB will rotate about A. Now it will trace this path, this circle. Assume it is circle. It is not ellipse actually, as the diagram is compressed. Therefore, it looks like ellipse, but it is circle. So path traced by this AB is circle, and that path is drawn here. So this is path of B. You can see here in this way. Okay, that circle is visible to you. You can see this one. So this is circle representing path of B. Now what happened next circle? You can see this is path of B. Now you can see this OB is extended up to C, and this C will rotate about O. Actually, this BC link rotate about O. So C also and B also rotate about O. When I talk about BC link, so this path of C is drawn by this circle, second circle. You can see. Okay. So path of B is drawn, path of C is drawn, and also path of OB also drawn here. This is the circle representing path of OB, but this circle representing path of AB. Now forget about other things. Let's focus now to working of this mechanism, how it works. Let's say it is at B. Now before some time it is at B dash. Now my question to you is, when this OB is at OB dash, what about C? Where C is?
C dash.
And how their position is, whether that, now see, if I retract back this OB to this OB dash, so what happen? When B will move to this side, C will move to opposite side. So OC will be at OC dash and OB will be at OB dash. You observe here, when this position, that is C dash OB dash is achieved, your this output link BC as well as this link CF, both are horizontal. Both are horizontal. And this crank, you can see this one is A B dash. So your position is this one, A B dash. This B dash C dash is horizontal. Also C dash F dash is horizontal. So you can see this path. Initially tool is at F, but when I retract back, it is at F dash. And this F dash represents extreme left end of the tool. So tool is at extreme left end when the B is at B dash, C is at C dash. This is extreme left end. Now what happened? Let's say we start moving this link in same direction. So start rotating from OB dash to OB and further up to B double dash. So when this crank is moving from A B dash to A B double dash, what about C position? I'm moving it from B dash to B double dash. This path is trace. What about C? C is moving from, array started from B dash up to B double dash. So we C also start from C dash up
C double dash.
And what about F? F dash to
F double dash.
F double dash. So you observe here, when this crank is moving from B dash to B double dash, C is moving from C dash to C double dash, and F is moving from F dash to F double dash. So what happened here? This F dash means tool is move forward. When I move this crank from B dash to B double dash, this tool is moving forward. So this stroke is called as a forward stroke. And what happened next? When it is moving from B double dash to B dash, that is this stroke, then the C is moving from C double dash to C dash, and this tool is moving from F double dash to F dash. So during this stroke, when the crank is moving from OB dash, OB double dash to B dash, that is double dash to single dash, this tool is also moving back. It returns back. So if you find out this angle, let's say theta F, and these are the extreme positions shown. It is at B dash, B double dash. The tool is moving from B dash to B double dash, forward stroke. Forward means tool is moving forward. When again it is moved from B double dash to B dash, it moves back. That is return stroke. So angle turn during forward stroke is theta F. You can see the crank angle turn. Angle turns from A B dash to A B double dash. This angle is theta F, and this another angle is theta R. As this theta F is more, if you observe, theta F is more as compared to theta R. So theta F is more, and we know theta is equal to omega times T. So time for this stroke also, as omega is constant, as these mechanisms are driven by motors. So theta is proportional to time as omega is constant. So theta F is more than theta R. Means time for theta F is more than time for theta R. So time of forward stroke is more than time of return stroke. Understand why? Because angle turn during return stroke is less, while angle turn during return stroke is more. Forward stroke is more. So time of forward stroke is more, time of return stroke is less. So quick return ratio we have to define. Next term is, what is this quick return ratio? Quick return ratio is equal to time of cutting stroke upon time of return stroke. Cutting stroke is nothing but forward stroke. So how, and we know that time is proportional to theta. So what I can write here, theta F upon theta R, as theta is proportional to omega into T. So theta F upon theta R. So as this theta F is more, theta R is less. We can say forward stroke is fast. Forward stroke is taking more time, cutting stroke is taking more time, while the return stroke is taking less time. And hence, as the return stroke is quicker or faster, we called this mechanism as quick return motion mechanism, and derived by Whitworth. Hence, it is called Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. So I try to explain Whitworth quick return motion mechanism here with the help of this diagram. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is also same diagram, but in different way it is done. Can you explain this now diagram now? It is Whitworth only, but drawn in some different fashion. Just study it and tell me. My first question is, when Whitworth return motion mechanism achieve, which link is fixed?
Shortest
Shortest
link.
link is fixed, of course. Now see, you can see here, this link is shortest link. That is this CD shortest link. And as we discussed, our the crank is with respect to this CA, or you can say AC is a crank. So AC is a crank, and what happened? AB is another link. Actually, AD is one link, but we extend it up to P. So A and P are opposite ends. So when A is moving from A to A1, this P is moving from P to P1. So A1P is A1P1 is next position. Further, we can move it from A1 to A2. So it will move from P1 to P2. So you observe here in this case, as it rotates opposite direction, from A1 to A2, the angle turn is more, and hence this A1 to, when it is moving from A1 to A2, it moves from P1 to P2, and this RAM is moving from R1 to R2. You observe here R1 to R2 means forward stroke. And of course, the angle turn during forward stroke is more, while return stroke is A2 to A1, that is R2 to R1, and the angle turn during A2 to A1 is less. Of course, which circle you have to observe, you can check carefully. You have to consider this circle of path A, because we are considering path traced by crank. C is fixed and A is moving. So this is circle, this circle we have to consider. There are two circles, one representing path of A point with respect to AC, that is with respect to fixed reference C. Crank AC we are considering, A is movable point, C is about which the crank is rotating. While PD here consider another circle. So P, this circle represents path of P about point D, where CD is a fixed link. That's what about quick return motion mechanism, and it is called the Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. This is one example of a inversion number 2. One more example is there. You can see that is rotary engine or a gnome engine. In this case also, the crank 2 is fixed. This link is fixed. So what happens here? Other links will act as a crank. So its frame is, let's say, cylinder 1. Then piston is link number 3, and connecting rod is link number 4. While the short link is link number 2, which is fixed here. So what happens here? From all pistons will apply force on this, and these cranks will move to rotate that engine. This is what rotary internal combustion engine. Another example of a inversion number 2 of a single slider crankshaft mechanism. Important here, in this case, link number 2 is fixed. When link number 2 is fixed, you obtain two inversions. One is Whitworth, other one is rotary internal combustion engine. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
See, this diagram is visible now. I show
Yes.
means I show not image. Is it visible? I think not. Is this image visible now?
Screen is not shared.
Wait. Okay, now it is visible.
Yes.
Okay, the same diagram, just it was compressed. That's why it looks ellipse. Now you can see this. I hope it is visible to you, and you can see the circles. Are they visible or not? Please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you can see this again. I repeat again. AB is a crank. OA is a fixed link, while OB is one link, another link, which represents connecting link. But we extend this OB up to C, and we know what happened further. Again, one additional link is connected to transmit this motion to output tool, that is F, we can say. So CF is just another connecting link to transmit motion of this connecting link to a tool. We seen it moves from B dash to B double dash. The tool is moving from B dash to F double dash. So it moves from B double dash to B dash. Tool is moving back. angle turn during this stroke, that is B dash to B double dash, is more, that is theta f is more than theta r. Then we define quick return ratio as same, theta f upon theta r. And remember here, tell me the extreme positions of the crank when tool is at f dash and f double dash. When tool is at f dash, where is crank? Crank position. When tool is at f dash, where is crank position? Very simple. That's why I use three notations to represent three positions. My question to you is, when tool is at f dash, where is crank position? That is, crank is nothing but AB, which is corresponding position of crank.
AB dash.
Yes, AB dash. Is it right? Others?
Yes, AB dash.
AB dash. Okay. So you understand when, so means what? At the extreme left position, crank is at AB dash. And at extreme right position, that is F dash, when tool is at extreme right, where is crank?
AB double dash.
AB double dash. So I talk about two extreme positions. One is AB dash, other one is AB double dash. That's what is shown here. You can see this A to B dash and A to B double dash. So what I conclude here, to understand one more mechanism we have to discuss, that is quick return mechanism, that is crank and slotted lever mechanism. And to get comparison between these two, you remember here in examination like GATE, the questions asked on this quick return ratio, or if online pattern is there, then you need to solve numericals on this topic. So can anyone tell me, when I talk about theta and theta r, how we can relate this angle with respect to shortest link and longest link? Yes, please. So this link is yes. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir.
So this link, shortest link is this. This one, fixed link is shortest link, and this AB represent crank here. Okay. So you can see here, in extreme positions, we can remember in case of quick return motion mechanism, at extreme positions, the shortest link is perpendicular to output link. Keep in mind. Because here it is B dash, C dash will be somewhere here. When B double dash is here, C double dash is somewhere here. So this BC is horizontal. Means at extreme right position, extreme left position, shortest link is perpendicular to output link. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Output link, when I say output link, which link you assume? BC. And of course, BC is connected to CF. Or you can say CF also, because it is perpendicular to CF as well as BC at extreme positions only. So at two extreme positions, that is AB dash and AB double dash, the shortest link is perpendicular to output link. And this geometry is used to solve numericals. If these lengths are known, that means this length S is known, this crank length is known, then you can find out this angle, and that is used to determine quick return ratio. Means to determine quick return ratio, they will not give you theta and theta r, but they will give you dimensions of this S and L, or S and crank. Can anyone tell me how to find out this S and crank length? Means if it is given, can you determine quick return ratio?
Sin theta equal to S upon length of crank.
Sin theta. That relation is sine or cos. Let's say theta r is complete angle, but instead of that, let's say half angle I'm talking. Half of theta r. So you talk about this then, because right angle triangle we have to consider here. Is this arrow visible? I'm showing you. Arrow this way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what. So theta r means half of this theta r is this angle. I can't draw it here. Okay, I'll try to draw. Okay, let's say theta r, half angle is theta r. Half of theta r is this angle, in right angle triangle this. And if I know this angle, or if I determine this angle, then what I must know is S must be known and length of crank must be known. If I apply it, it is nothing but cos of this angle, half of this theta r is nothing but S upon L. It's not sine. Opposite upon hypotenuse. This is right angle triangle. Shortest upon hypotenuse is cos. So cos of this alpha, let's say this angle is alpha. So cos of alpha is S upon L, length of crank. Once I know S, once I know L, I can find out that angle. Once that angle is known to you, theta r is twice of this angle. And if theta r is known to you, 360 minus theta r is your theta f. So we can determine quick return ratio. Understand? How to
Yes,
determine quick return ratio if S and L is new, S and L is given. So you have to use the geometry. They will give you only quick return. It is Whitworth quick return ratio, Whitworth quick return mechanism. And we know that in Whitworth quick return mechanism, that shortest link is perpendicular to output link. So B dash and B double dash are extreme ends. So we can use this geometry, this triangle here, to get quick return ratio calculations. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll show you video later on. Or what do you think? I'll show video now only, or we'll go for next mechanism and then we combine, we see all videos. Video means it's animation, how basically a Whitworth quick return motion mechanism works. Or you want to see now only, then yes, please. सगळे डिस्कस करायचे मग पाहिजेत का वन बाय वन पाहिजेत प्लीज
As you wish.
as you wish.
One by one.
Okay, we'll show you that. Now PPT is visible to you, no?
screen sharing is off.
Screen is not shared.
So you have stopped sharing.
Okay, wait. Okay, I shared the screen. Visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see, whatever we discuss about Whitworth quick return motion mechanism, I hope it is visible to this video is visible to you. YouTube video.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now see. Basically, again, it is a slider kind mechanism shown here. Try to understand what we are going to discuss. This is slider kind mechanism in which link we are going to fix in this mechanism, in this inversion. Or which link we are going to fix?
Slide.
No, slider is not where we are going to fix. I told you second inversion, Whitworth mechanism. Link number 2 is fixed, na? Shortest link is fixed. I told you when that mechanism is obtained. When frame is fixed, then we obtain IC engine mechanism, which is on the screen now. IC engine mechanism. Here it is slider is not fixed, but frame is fixed. When frame is fixed, crank will rotate. You know, IC engine mechanism. Crank will rotate, connecting rod will transmit motion to slider, and slider will reciprocate. Now on the screen, link number 1 is fixed. You observe it carefully. But whenever we are going to change that mechanism, that is first inversion. When we are going to change the fixed link, that is link number 2, that we obtain Whitworth mechanism. Understand or not? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So we'll talk about Whitworth now, okay? And in Whitworth mechanism, you see now, let's talk about this circle diagram first. It is just actually representation of whatever we talk. Now, how many turning pairs are there in our case? In slider kind mechanism, how many turning pairs are there? How many turning pairs? Slider kind mechanism, how many turning pairs are there? Yes? No one don't know? How many sliding pairs are there at least? Hello. How many sliding pairs are there?
1,
And how many turning?
3,
Returning.
Okay. So 3 turning and 1, yes, 1 sliding.
sliding pair.
So that is what's shown here. You can see this A, B, C, D represents pairs. How many turning pairs are here? 1, that is A, B, C, and D are the pairs. 3 turning pairs and 1 sliding pair. And 1, 2, 3, 4 represents links. I'm just showing you what they are representing. And this 1 is having turning pair at one side, other is having sliding pair. While 2 is having both side turning pair. Both side turning pair means it will be act as a crank, but we fix this in this case. In Whitworth mechanism, we fix this shortest link, having both turning pairs. And then link number 3 is having partial turning pair here. Partial turning, this green color represent complete turning pair. And while this red one represent partial turning. Partial turning means it will act as an oscillating link. One side oscillating link, otherwise other side sliding pair. So it will slide inside this. Okay, we'll talk about this diagram. This is circle representation of a same mechanism. So it is not different diagram. Just representation of a mechanism in a circle diagram, representing pairs and links. Now, what you understand from this? In this mechanism, how many turning pairs are there? 1, 2, 3. How many sliding pairs are there? 1 sliding pair. Which link is fixed? Link number 2 is fixed. And when link number 2 is fixed, we know this kind of mechanism is obtained. Yes or no? I think this diagram is clear at all. Hello, this arrow is visible.
Yes, sir.
Means I'm showing with arrow. This arrow is visible, na?
Yes, sir.
And same diagram we discussed. This AB is short link. Then now in this case, AC will act as a crank. Actually, sorry, BC will act as a crank. And this is path of this crank. While this link is extended to get this point. In our when I explain, I took one more point here. Okay, that point is not discussed here, but the same mechanism. This BC is crank. AC is extended to obtain output link and further connected to tool by means of this. Now see how it is, whatever we discuss, extreme position, extreme right position, extreme left position, that is BC is one position, BC dash may be a extreme left position or extreme right position that you have to observe. Okay, so just go through this animation and try to understand our theory part we discuss. It is audible to you also?
No, sir.
Means YouTube audio is not there?
No, sir.
Yes or no?
No.
Please check once again. Yes or no?
No. No, sir.
No, no. Okay, I will explain them. Don't worry. I thought it is audible to you. See, this one is a mechanism we discussed. AB, BC is a crank, and AC is the link which we are going to extend to obtain motion of a output link, that is tool. So to use this mechanism, to use this tighter connection mechanism in actual practice, what we did is we are going to extend this link. So we extend this link. AC is extended. At the end of again when we attach another link by means of turning pair, and at the end we attach tool. So that is what arrangement done to obtain some output from this mechanism. So this AC is extended to get same they are explaining, and then there is tool at the end. which will cut the part. Maybe it is used in shaper machine, so it will cut during forward stroke. Why forward stroke? Why return stroke? I already discussed. Now let's say how this crank is moving. This BC is moving from the C to, you can see now. So this one is path of the crank, and when C is moving on this path, the next point, you can see this another point is moving opposite. This is your extreme position. I told you, you understand here, this is your extreme position. So you observe now at extreme, now tell me, where is tool in this case? At this position, where is tool? At extreme right or extreme left?
Extreme right.
Extreme left.
Don't be confused. Huh? Just see again. Some are saying right, some are saying left. I will show you all this and then I'll ask you. Okay. Now see how it moves. See where it is now. Ek lakshat gaya. When it is moving back, what happened when this C is moving back? What happened to this end? It is moving forward. Yes or no? And when this end is moving forward, means it is pushes that tool toward forward side. So when C is moving back, it is moving opposite. It is moving towards forward side. So when C is at extreme left position, tool is at extreme right position. Understand or not? When C is at extreme left position, tool is at extreme right position, because it depends upon this tool motion is affected by this end. So when this end is moving forward, tool also moving forward, and this end is opposite to C. So when C will move towards left, this will move towards right, and hence tool also. Understand or not? So this position I shown to you in the last case is nothing but extreme right position of tool. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And what you observe here, AB is perpendicular to what now? Output link. Is it yes or no? We talk about geometry. You can see this below diagram also. This is geometry in which AB is perpendicular to this. So these are two positions shown. Maybe C double dash or C dash name given to that. So this is extreme left position of crank, and correspondingly you obtain extreme right position of a tool. Just see next. We are moving it further. Now see when it move in opposite direction. Yes. So getting idea? Now C is at extreme right. Where is tool now?
Extreme left.
Extreme left position. And I hope you seen that motion, how we are moving it from C dash to let's say C double dash. Tool is moving back. This is the return stroke. So another extreme position, another position here. So you can see tool is here now. When B is at BC crank is here, tool is at this position. When C is here at this position, tool is at extreme right. So at this position, tool is at extreme left position. You can see further we are moving it. Again, tool is moving forward. So this is your forward stroke. From this C to this C. This is your forward stroke. And you observe angle turn during this forward stroke is more, while angle turn during return stroke is less. So what happened due to this angle turn, more and less? Yes?
Less time.
Less time during return and more time during? Yes?
Going back means.
Okay. So this is what motion. Any doubt here? In animation, in video, not understand something? Yes, please.
No, sir.
If you want, I will show again. Forward stroke, return stroke. Forward and again return, you can say. Okay. Clear?
Yes. Sir, and this
Yes,
is
sir.
rotating at anti-clockwise, right?
Yes, yes. In this case, it is rotating anti-clockwise. So it depends upon how it rotates. No? In our example, I shown you both cases I shown you. In the diagram I shown with pen and pencil, the rotation is different, and the diagram I shown with slide, the rotation is different. So just we need to observe in which stroke angle turn is more. In which path angle turn is more. That is your forward stroke. Getting or not?
Yes, sir.
Direction doesn't matter. Clockwise or anti-clockwise, it depends upon you decide it, but it depends upon how much angle it turns. During which stroke angle is more, that is your forward stroke. During which stroke angle is less, that is your return stroke.
Return stroke.
The greater the angle, the more force is applied over.
Greater is the angle. You can say theta is proportional to what? Generally, it is rotated by motor. Okay. So theta is proportional to theta is equal to omega into T, your formula. Okay, if slide is there, I can write, but I want to show one more video, so I can't write here. But okay, I'll try to explain. Theta is equal to omega t. Is it known to you? Formula, basic formula.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what happened here? Omega is constant. Why it is constant? Because we are rotating that this mechanism by means of a motor. So omega remains constant. We assume that omega is constant. So theta proportional to what now? Time. Theta f is more. I'm saying theta f means this you see in forward stroke. Theta f is means time required to cut that material. Time we are getting to cut that material because this is used to cut the material. Let's say shaper machine, wood cutter machine. So here it is cutting material. So to cut that cutting stroke is our main stroke. Return stroke is our idle stroke. Return stroke it is not cutting material. It is idle stroke. So what we think your efficiency will be more when it is taking more time to cut the material. And return stroke must be fast because it is not useful to us. So angle turn during cutting stroke or forward stroke must be more. Angle turn during return stroke must be less. That is the design part. If you understand this, you can design such kind of machines or mechanisms, you can say. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's. I want to explain one more example. It might be here. That I explained to you, forward stroke, return stroke, okay, the squeak return ratio and all. Still now I'll explain, okay. BC dash and BC double dash are the extreme positions, and you can see at these extreme positions, you can see C dash to C double dash, forward stroke, C double dash to C dash, return stroke. AB is perpendicular to output link, and hence if I know, now tell me, if BC length is known to you and AB length is known to you, which angle you will get?
Return stroke.
Theta r is return stroke, okay, but we get which angle actually? Basically we get angle ABC dash, yes or no, or we can say ABC double dash, that angle we get. And if I get that angle, twice that will be a return stroke angle, theta r angle. So from theta r we can find out theta f, and we get quick return ratio for this mechanism. Okay, so this is your Whitworth quick return motion mechanism, and which is inversion of a, yes, inversion of what? Single slider crankchain. I will show you one more application of this inversion, that is your gnome engine or rotary engine. For every topic we discuss, I'll show you videos, but actually we want time. So my planning was to conduct first theory sessions and then to conduct videos around. Okay, we'll discuss here.
Sir, time.
Wait, sorry, I'll just conclude this. Okay, I'll show you that rotary engine and then we'll stop. I shown you on the slides, rotary engine also application of single slider crankchain, second inversion. Is it visible to you, this YouTube video?
Yes, sir.
This or gnome engine. Actually, the things happen inside this. One more actually video was with me, but I can't find it now. Okay, you can understand this. In which, in this case, this link is fixed. Shortest link is fixed. while we are getting pressure from this cylinder end, and all these are rotating. So you can remember this is one more example of a second inversion of a single slider crankshaft. Other inversions we will discuss in next lecture. I hope it is whatever we discuss is clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.